Peace. It's the Intentionist one. And I found a beautiful article, okay? This is in the Black Indians United. Okay, check out the article. The link is right here. If I put the link in the description, all right? I'm just gonna make sure I don't forget to put the link in the description. Guys, check it out, read it. I'm gonna read it, I'm gonna go over it, tell you what I think about it, but you're gonna find this to be interesting. All right. See, at this point in time, most people on this page, you already know that it was already Negroes in this land. We've been reclassified as Africans or whatever. So this article right here, all I want you to do is this, all right? When I read a lot of these articles gonna tell you like what was going on, so you can replace that. If they telling you that they had tribes on plantations, then you already know the game is over with, because they don't tell you that in history. You understand? Why would you bring slaves here when you can enslave the damn Indians? Okay, and this is what they're not telling you. When you see all these different images of the reason you see these different tribes, like up there in the Massachusetts area where you see black people, they tell you that they was Africans, but just use your common sense, okay? If you see these tribes, okay, now these tribes don't have no other ethnicity looking. They look like they even black, or they look like they either black or they look like they mixed with the Europeans. Okay, now I'm not saying everybody that look that way is, but when I made that last video, I showed y'all, because we gotta come to an understanding. If there were no Europeans here, there should be no Europeans in none of these tribes. Okay, and if they are Europeans in tribes, then we need to start looking at some of these people, like I said, in these tribes. All right, and so I'm gonna read this. And you guys, you listen out for certain things or whatever. I'm gonna probably go over the certain things twice. All right, but some of these Indian names I'm not gonna be saying, because it's gonna slow me down. It's gonna make me mess up on my reading. All right, so I'm just gonna not even deal with them. I'm just gonna just keep it there long enough so you guys can see it, and you guys gonna have access to the article yourself. All right, so let me get with it. All right. So this is for anybody who's in the Massachusetts area. These are the surnames for the Black Indians, or what they consider Black Indians from the beginning. Okay, they say from the beginning. All right. So it's a remnant of the tribes of the Indians now live in the northeast side of the Great whatever, I can't pronounce it. They have mixed. No, they have mixed with the blacks. All right. So they say they have mixed with the blacks. Okay. They say what is known of the trouble of the inhabitants of the war is found shattered through Mr. Hubbard narrative of the Baka history Middleborough, whatever. All right, so you know, guys, some of you guys who live in that area, if definitely do the research, because there's a bunch of surnames, and at the end of them, I'm gonna read them all. All right, so this is, I guess they saying, the actual image of what King Philip looked like according to them, or whatever. I don't think so, because I still think that the Indians all up and down the northeast and southeast all had the feather crown on, or the leaf crown, or whatever we consider. I think all of them have, because when we see these images of people in New York, we see all the images. All right, but check this out though. We're gonna read through this. All right. So all right. So it's a Wapanaki and whatever, and King Philip's War. It's a descendant's surname is Mitchell. Alright, so some of you people who on here, if you got family and from these areas right here, check into it, man. Maybe you might be part or descendants of some of these people. Alright, now alright, so you know how I read, so just bear with me and let's just try to get through this shit as fast as possible. Alright, it's a count insertion. They say with these ethnic Indians was given in a book. They say the history of the Great Indian War of 1675 and 1676. So that might be something y'all can use. Commonly called Philip's War. Also the Old French and Indian War from 1689 to 1704. Say by Church, Esquire, numerous notes or whatever. I'm not gonna read this, y'all. Check this out, whatever. I'm gonna read through that. They say, all right, so they say these images were part of the original book by Thomas Church. That's another source. It's a paint printed in 1716. The pictures demonstrate the clear, the so-called, they said African ancestry, the Aborigine ancestries of its subjects regarding Massachusetts Indians captive in King's Philip War. Account of all were taken in numbers about 400, about 8 or 10 were hung and murdered, and the rest was sold into slavery. Okay, so now they telling you, boom, this is in 1716, right? This is in Massachusetts. So they saying that the so-called captives, it says accordingly were taken in numbers about 400. So they said it was 400 in court. They said about 8 or 10 of them was hung and murdered, and the rest of them was sold into slavery. Okay, so that's in 1716. They telling you that they were selling people in slavery. Okay, well, we know it happened much earlier than that. We know it happened probably after the war, 1622. But let me continue. The Native American mariner, whatever culture, mariner culture was among the first Eastern tribal nations converted to Christianity in 1646. Father Eli facilitated change within the tradition. Okay, say facilitated change within the tradition culture by encouraging preaching the gospel in languages of native, whatever that tribe is, near Newton, Massachusetts. Eventually, it's a Christian Indian town was located in Nantucket. Martha Vineyard. It's a New Plymouth, New Norwich, Connecticut County, and Massachusetts County, known as Old Prairie Indian Town. Okay, I'm gonna skip through the rest of these names right there because I don't want to butcher them. It said Mariner is a coastal nation. It said they interacted and intermarried with variety of other sea venturing people, many of whom was described as colored foreigners. Okay, so they're saying that they intermarried with other sea venturing people, and they saying that they was colored foreigners. All right, now I don't know what that means. Maybe they was Moors, but you know what I'm saying. I don't really want to even go there with that, right? But it say therefore they were diverse Native American nation long before documented contact with any European. Englishman. It said, of course, discounting the various ethnicity of colored foreigners by referred to them as Indians, black, Negroes, and colors. All right. It said the Old Prairie Indian town in Massachusetts colony was situated in the traditional defense formation as the outlying walls of defense in 1675, protecting the tribal nation affiliated with King Philip. Say master, whatever. It said the position immediately cast a pall of suspicion upon them in their eyes of the military colonies. Okay, so they said they was already suspicious about the military colony. They said starting with Clemford and Merrimack River, the village lay 12 to 14 miles apart and made a ring around the Boston settlement. They say the position of the Prairie Indians could also be allowed them to serve as scouts for the English. Okay, so they was working for the English. Therefore, the Prairie Indians were protecting themselves against an attack of hostile nations and colonies. It's saying in the midst of King Philip War, see on August 30th, 1675, the Governor Council of Massachusetts Colony, excuse me, in response to a public demand, disbanded the Prairie Indian band, and confined these Christian Indians to their Old Prairie Indian town, restricted their travel within 1 mile of the of the center of those towns, and only then when in the company of the Englishmen. Okay, so he said they can only be around the Englishmen. He said if you are a Native American and broke these rules, it said he could be arrested or shot on sight. The Christian Indians were caught between two warring fictions. the English, it's not, listen to this, y'all. It say the Christian Indians were caught between two warring fictions. It say the Indians and the tribe hostile, and the English fighting alongside King Philip in the war over the damage of their country. 1675, 1676. The Prairie Indians pledged their loyalty. The Prairie Indians pledged their loyalty to the English, who refused to trust them, and at the same time faced with the enmity of their own people. The loyalty was regarded with such public hatred towards them that in August 1675, so it's saying that their own tribe didn't like them because they was Christianized and because they was siding with the English. Listen to this shit. Now, alright, so it's saying the General Council of Boston began to consider removing the Prairie Indians to their island in Boston Harbor. It said finally in October 1675, the order passed for removal. By December of that year, there were over 5,000 Christian Indians confined to the island. So they moved them to a whole island. Okay, it said the locals is the location is the very same Deer Island, now affiliated with Yale, Skull, and Bones. Okay, that's something just extra. The amenity, jealous, and clamors of the same people against them put the Madrid Tracy upon a kind of necessity to send them all to the island where they live chiefly upon clams and shellfish that they dig out of the sand. They say at low water the island was bleak and cold, their wigwams poor, and means their clothes few and thin. Some little corn they had on their own, which the council ordered to be fetched from their plantation and conveyed to them little by little. Okay, all right. It say their day until release in 1675. Sorry, so it said their day stayed until release in 1677, but the world to which they returned was totally changed. The English had defeated the warring tribes, leaving the Native Americans stranded in their own homeland. Okay, now check this out. So it's saying that, all right, so it's saying when they came back in 1677, all right, so this 1677, okay, now check this out. It say, but the world to which they returned was totally changed. The English had defeated the warring tribes. Okay, so that was their whole plan, to separate the so-called Christians and the ones that wanted to be colonized away from the warring tribe, because the warring tribes were going to kill them. So it say the warring tribes say leaving the Native American strangers in their own homeland. Do you understand what it say? It say that English had defeated the warring tribes, leaving the Native American strangers in their own homeland. Okay, so who that sound like? It say the following Great Philip War. It say many descendants of the whatever tribe, the Wapanaki, I know that tribe. Say the other nations were sold into slavery. Okay, it's saying 13 years later, Colonel Church noted revenge remained in the beast of the tribe and those tribes whose family has been so cruelly treated. Okay, so look, so it's telling you right here. They telling you that they was enslaving these tribes, and it said right here, it said the English had defeated the warring tribes, leaving the Native American strangers in their own homeland. Okay, now my thing is this, right? If you read the census, all right, so boom, let's deal with this. If you read the census, all right, where are these strangers at? Where are these stranger Native Americans at? Because if you read the census in 1900, there was only maybe 50,000 Hispanics over here. So them couldn't be the strangers. Okay, and then you know what a Native American look like, or what you assume that they look like. You don't see none of them people who don't know. Most of them claim that they know their heritage. So this is what I'm trying to say, how they throw shit out there, and people like me are catching. Okay, it said the English had defeated the warring tribes, leaving the Native American strangers in their own homeland. Okay, all right. So let me go right here. So it said during the war, Colonel Church militarized settlers of Massachusetts. It said describe a surprise discovery of Indian warriors laying in ambush as a formidable black heap. Okay, it's a succeeding years brought renewed interest in general warfare of the descendants of the praying Indians, as well as the Wapanaki Indians of Massachusetts, generally forming accounting of their members. Okay, it said 1848, the Minnesota Senate Senator Joint Committee on Claims was instructed to report the number of conditions of several tribes of the Indians that receive aid from the Commonwealth, and also to consider and report whether further further legislation is necessary for their protection and welfare. A report by Senator George Denning, it's enumerated 780 Indians supported by the Commonwealth, included 33 persons identified as Troy or Fall River Indians, 51 identified as Dudley, 2 identified as Grafton. Now that name Grafton is funny because where I'm from, we got a block called Grafton Avenue, and there used to be projects on it. Well, I say 100 of, I can't pronounce this word, I ain't taking the time to try to pronounce it. It's a Christian Town and Martha Vineyard. It's a 250 old gay head, also from Marvin Vineyard, 4 as Punkapot, Chanton, 30 as Heron Pond or New Bedford. And I think these are all the different names that they changed. So Martin Vineyard, or they renamed their location, and this is, so when they say Martin Vineyard, these are all different tribal areas. When they say Martin Vineyard, so Martin Vineyard used to be a fucking tribal area until these people came over here and made it their playland or whatever. All right, so it's a New Bedford and 312 as Mississippi Indians. That's why you keep seeing the different names, and then they go into like New Bedford. I think that them are the areas in which they took and renamed. Okay, let's say all right. So here we go. In February 1849, Commission F.W. Bird, writing Galsworth and Cyrus Weeks, provided to Massachusetts Governor George N. Briggs a document. The Briggs report excluded native associated with Nintac, and the Briggs report provided an account of 847 Bay State Indians. The report claimed there was 5 or 6 Indians of pure blood in the state. They say the rest are mixed with mostly Indian and African. All right, so and that's when I'm not buying, because listen, at this point in time, they're not telling you they brought any African slaves over. Now, we went back to 16. It said up here in 1677. Okay, now look, use your brain, people. Now it's telling you. It says, let me read this again. All right, it say the most recent report claimed there was 5 or 6 Indians of pure blood in the state. Okay, now when they tell you Indians of pure blood, what do Indians of pure blood look like? Now, let me see something. Let me pull up something. Let me see something real quick. My spelling's fucked up as well. Let me see something. Yeah. Let me see. You know what fucking I come back to. Alright, what was I at? It say the reports claim there was 5 or 6 Indians of pure blood in the state. The rest are of mixed blood, mostly Indians and Africans. Alright, so they never mentioned no Africans coming here. Okay, They never mention no freaking Africans coming here. It's saying an admixture of Africans' blood, usually predominantly in the amount over the Indians. Okay, so it's saying that the African blood usually predominating over the Indians. Now, scratch ahead on this one, right? When did they mention African slaves coming in? They telling you that they enslaved the tribes who was already there and misplaced them in their own homeland. Okay, so now when did they tell you they brought any Africans here? If they enslaved the damn Indians, why would they bring African slaves there? And this is the shit that people need to start looking at, because they even this is written probably by a African American in black Indian or whatever, and they keep on saying that there was African and Indians. The Indians are Negroes. Okay, let's keep that straight. The Indians are not these mixed people. The mixed people are the whites, either the white slaves or the white settlers or colonists that mixed in. Because I have read, and matter of fact, actually I read it in I can't think about where I think exactly where I read it at. But it says that it was known for the colonists to give up one of their women, and the tribes give up one of their women, and they intermingle like that. Okay, so that's the reason why you see these European. Because think about it. If you look at a lot of these tribes, all right, just can use your brain on this. Okay, they show you that the original so-called Indians was Mongoloids. When you look at the rest of these tribes, these people don't look like Mongoloids. They look like they are a mixture of white and black people. Okay, they don't look like no Mongoloids. When you look at the Wapanaki now, some of them look black with straight hair, or some of them look black with little nappy hair, whatever. That's because they keep mixing into one another. That's the reason why they look like. They ain't like they just went and got with a straight dark-skinned woman or anything to that effect. That's the reason why they look like that, because they keep on intermingling with each other, and then you see them grow their hair. You like, oh shit, that's an Indian. That's Indian hair. No. That is that's European mixed in him with the hair. That's why his hair like that. Okay, I'm gonna keep it moving. All right. It says the rest are of mixed blood, mostly Indian and African. They never mention no Africans. They mentioned that the Indians were the slaves, so why would they bring Africans here? And we know that the Africans did not survive when they came here. Okay, the admixtures of African usually predominantly. See, when they say usually predominantly, because it's trying to say that when it usually dominates, and the ethnicity, you could tell it's a Negro, because they was Negroes from the beginning. Okay, the same way now when you see these mixes of people, even light-skinned people, you can tell that they Negroes. They don't look white, so you can tell that they're Negro. They say an amount over the Indian, it say is the only one common to all different tribes. Okay, they say there was 48 Indians, part of the Dudley tribe. It say now Dudley, that's a European name. How did they get the name Dudley? Okay, it say at Webster's, and 26 Indians, part of the Grafton tribe. Grafton sounds like a European name too. It said counting to the Brig report. All right, I'm gonna skip over that. Right there, they are the Wapanaki right there. Let me take that real quick. Let me take this real quick. I'm gonna clarify something real quick for y'all. And this is gonna be kind of a long video, because I guess because I'm talking as I'm going or whatever. But look, we already went through this. I already made a video showing you what these people look like. So here we go. Alright. Now, where in the world do this look like a Europe? Do this like a freaking this guy's supposed to be a Wapanaki, Mash P. Now, what do he look like to you? If you had to really choose, what do he look like? He like a freaking Puerto Rican or something, or Dominican. You know what I'm saying? What would you think or he look like a black, he look like he's mixed. He look like he's mixed, he look like he's black and white. Okay? Now, I know this shit is common sense. That's the first thing I had to figure out. How did these white people get into these tribes, man? And why do you see a lot of these mixes, man? That's why you see this little beautiful little baby right here. You know she's a Negro. But some of these other people, you looking like, yo, like this tribe right here, you would think, oh, this is a real Indian right here. No, this is a white and black person mix, man. It's a white and black person mix, man. Among all them tribes, man, none of them people had straight hair. You see the afros, apparently, they apparently had afros. You can clearly see. So, you know what I mean? Like, the proof is in the pudding. You should look at this brother right here. Look at him right here. What do you think he is? Okay. Now he's more black than the rest of them. His mother probably was black, but probably was just a light skin. His father probably was black, or his father probably was light skin, but nonetheless though, or whatever. This is a black man right here. Now you see, oh, that's part of the Africans that's mixed in with the Indian. Well, show me where is the real Indians at? Show me what the real Indians look like. You understand? Because none of the tribes in the southeast looked at nothing like no Mongoloids until after the Trail of Tears. See, I'm learning as I'm reading, as I'm going through this shit too, man. I'm learning. Excuse my language. I'm learning as I'm going through it too. Okay, so now I know how them Indians mixed in with them Indians or the Mongoloids that was all within, like, how you want to say, the northwest region or whatever. All right, let's keep it moving. So it say through a legislative act in 1859, John Milton Earle. Now that's another thing. The Earle report. It's a politician and newspaper publisher. It say was appointed to investigate the social condition of Massachusetts Indians and advance recommendations whether they should be placed on the same legal footing as other residents of the Commonwealth. So he's saying that basically he did that to see whether or not they colonized, or was they gonna get mad about what's the conditions of what's going on. It said his commission was to examine in the condition. It say the commissioner was to examine into the conditions of all Indians and report descendants of Indians domiciled in the Commonwealth, and make reports to the governor for the information of the general court dealing with the four issues: the number of such persons, their place, and abide their distribution. B, it say the social and political condition of such persons. C, the economical state of all persons, and it's cut off like this. Say all such facts and persons of social conditions of the Indians of Commonwealth, and may enable the general court to judge whether they can compatibly with their own goods and that of the other inhabitants. It say of the state be placed immediately and completely. It say on or other gradually and partially on the same legal footing. See, they basically trying to see if they gonna be a problem to the damn people. You know what I'm saying? That's basically what I'm getting out of that. All right. So it says his census document, often called the Earle report. All right. So if you guys want to do some research, you could check the Earle report. So the Earle report, Massachusetts. So if you're from the Massachusetts area, or if your family was from over there, because I'm quite sure there's a lot of Negroes family from up that way, or from like the New York area. Just, you know what I'm saying, check and see or whatever. All right. So it's a Senate report in 96. It say 1861. It say or report to the governor and the council concerning the Indians of the Commonwealth under the Act of April 6, 1859. The actual document submitted by Earle in 1861 consists of 3 sections: a 132-page report, a proposed act of enfranchised Bay State Indians, and appendix of 78 pages listing native families. All right. So it said the Earle works were conserved at John Milton Earle Papers at the American Antiquarian Society, Worcestershire, Massachusetts. Earle told 1,126 individuals and 291 families placed under guardianship of the Commonwealth. He also recorded 322 individuals. Now look at that number, 322. It says skull and bone before individuals individuals in 1870 family as miscellaneous Indians whose heritage was not apparent to him. Aggregate total in the Earle report were 378 families comprising of 1,448 Indians, excluded 162 non-Indian spouses. Okay, so it said they excluded the spouses that wasn't Indians. Okay, now it said including native and now native spouses. The total number of persons enumerated. Remember, enumerated is when they do the census. It say in 1610 in the appendix, Earle penned the phrase "plantation tribes." Okay, this is what I wanted to get to right here. Okay, now I'm gonna read that again. It said included native and non-native spouses. Okay, a number of persons enumerated in 1610 in the appendix. Earle penned the phrase plantation tribes. Now they go another source for you guys. Plantation tribes. Okay, it say in a trend that would continue in South Carolina. It say including Indians from whatever Martha Vineyard, such and such, and such and such. Alright, so it's saying that these are some of the surnames. I'm gonna read through these quickly because I gotta go or whatever, but I'm just gonna read through the more noticeable so-called African American or black names. Remember I said if you're in that area, check your shit out, man. See if that's your tribe, okay? So we see Allen, Amos, Anthony. I see Baker, Bassett. I don't know to me. I see Boarding, Brooks, Brown, Butler. Alright, we got Charles, Cobb, Cole, Cook, Craig. I don't know too many black people. Last name Craig. I don't see too many right there. Edwards, Fletcher, Freeman, Francis, Fuller. I do know a couple. Fuller, Gardner, Godfrey, Goodwin, yeah, Grant, Hammonds, Harris, Hackins. No, I don't know no Hackins. Okay, Hendricks, yes. Hollins, yes. Holmes, Howard, yes. Height. Nah, I don't know too many. You know, Jackson's, yes. Johnson's, yeah. Jones, Jordan, Joseph, yeah. Kennedy, Lane, Lee, Lewis, nah, no, not too many Lewis's. Madison, nah. Miller, Mitchell, yeah. Nicholas, nah. Page, yeah. Perry, yeah. Phelps, yes. Pratt, yes. Randolph, Robertson, Rollins, Rhodes, Ross, Shepard, Simpson, yeah. Smith, Stevens, that's about it. Teller, yeah. Terry, that's a first name mostly. Thomas, Thompson, Turner, Weeks, White, Williams, Wood. Alright, so they go something else. Let me see something. I ain't see this. As a matter of fact, let me get some water real quick, people. Alright, so it said Indian census of Massachusetts, surname Gayhead. Say I don't know how to pronounce that. Wapanaki Meshpi tribes. Say mixed foreigner color Indians. Okay, now I say mixed foreign color Indians. They all the Indians look alike, man. The ones that been reclassified as Africans even look like some of these Indians, man. You understand? The majority of Indians that's on these tribes are mulatto, and the other ones mixed in with the Mongoloids when they after the Trail of Tears, man. I can prove that all from the northeast to southeast, from all the Carolinas to Tennessee to Mississippi and Louisiana, was all Negroes. They did not find no Mongoloids until after the Trail of Tears, man. And this is what I'm saying, because you don't see none of them images, and none of the images in which none of the earliest explorers, none of them describe none of these people looking with long hair or braids or none of that shit. The only people who talk about stuff like that is Jack Forbes. But if you go back far enough, you can see Van Spoochie. He, man, I got a letter from the Western. I forgot what they call it. I forgot what they call it, but I got the letter. I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna probably make a video on that in a little bit. But here go some more of the names: Cole, Cook, Cooper, Williams. There's a couple of different, the same practically names, some of the same names I read off or whatever. I got some things I gotta run around and do, so I'm just gonna just do a recap. So look, man, it's a lot of things in here that remember what you need to look up. Okay, they got these names. Like again, we got some of the same. Remember, all these names are Christian names. Okay, so we do know that none of these names are indigenous, Aborigine names. Even the so-called Indians who got their tradition got Christian names. That's what fucks me up. That's what fucks me up. That so-called Indians that tell you that you don't have no tradition. His last name is whatever. His last name is a European last name. Okay, the only practices they go around is fake like they Indians. They ain't really Indians living in no fucking whatever they supposedly lived in. Because we know that they didn't live in TP. What did the Indians in North Carolina and them live in? They didn't live in no TPs. You don't start hearing about them TPs until you start going out there and like in some of them other regions. So what was it? The people in Carolina wasn't sleeping in TPs. You don't hear about no TPs in the southeast or northeast. That's why all them images go with the people that was in the south northeast. And remember, the southeast is Georgia, Florida, all the areas where Negroes is at. So look, man, it's already a wrap, man. You can't and now you got terms like this. Plantation tribes. Now, don't let these plantation tribes be the 13 colonies, because if they are the 13 colonies, then we already know who they are. Okay, and then like later on, they did bring some Africans. Now I'm starting to really understand it a little bit more now. Now I'm starting to understand it. By this time, listen, they said that in 1670, the Christian Indians or the praying Indians came back to town. The town was different than what they thought what it was. And they said that the Indians that was there, now they are a stranger in their own homeland. What happened to them people listen, that was 1677, right? Where do you think them people at now? Where do you think them people at now? You understand what I'm saying? And they're going to keep giving you these mixed people, and they're going to say, oh, these is Indians. But listen, there had to be original people. All these tribes cannot be mixed up. The reason all these tribes are mixed up because the Europeans was the key component to all these tribes, and they was everywhere where these tribes was at. That's why you see them tribes looking the way they look. And that's why the Ducatids always say the amalgamated tribes, man. They always say that the Cherokees amalgamated by the late 1700s, man. You understand? So with that being said, man, y'all check the article out. Scroll back up here to the top. Y'all check this out, man. There's probably some more excellent articles on. It's called Black Indians United. Give you a couple sources or whatever. Y'all check this out, man, and get back at me. All right, peace. It's a Conscious one.